Everybody. Welcome to another episode of Resistance Band Training Live. I'm Dave Schmitz, your host, and thanks for joining me this morning. You know, one of the major movements that we lose as we get older is rotation, and we specifically lose it through our hips. And what's interesting is when we lose it through our hips, a lot of things negatively start to happen. Number one, we start to lose our power, but more importantly, number two, we start to get joint pain, primarily in our low back or our shoulders, as a result of lack of movement. You know, the body's a kinetic chain, and we all understand that. So when we take a component of that kinetic chain out, like hip rotation, we have to make it up somewhere else. And what happens is our low back starts to take the hit. A few months ago, I started putting together some how-to videos. And one of the first ones I put together is how to stretch out hip rotation. Today, I'd like to take you through a review of how to improve your hip rotation using band stretching. Folks, don't disrespect the importance of hip rotation. Make sure you work on it regularly, and make sure that you're not compensating through your low back like we discussed in video. I hope all of you are doing great. I appreciate all the comments and the feedback that you keep giving me about the Resistance Band Training Live episodes. And keep making sure you check out the site, because we're going to be putting some new things onto the site real soon. Look forward to sharing those with you very quickly. Have a great week, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Now let's go into hip rotation stretching. Now the thing about hip rotation stretching is I think it's probably the most important stretch that you can do. Very reason why, a lot of our movements are dominated by rotation, and we're dominated through our hips. We have to have our hips mobile in order for us to create power. We know that the hips are our power center, therefore if the hips do not rotate well, we cannot create power. We also know that the transverse plane, or the rotational plane, is our power plane. When we want to create power, we're going to definitely create it by rotating through our hips. When you talk about baseball throwing, when you talk about any kind of throwing or running movement, it's the rotation of your hips that creates the power. Let me show you how you want to go ahead and stretch that hip rotation out very easily using the band. Once again, we're going to go ahead and put that right foot solidly against the wall. We're going to make sure that stays solid. We're going to take, our hand is going to go underneath the band so we can grasp it. A lot of people want to grab the band underneath to the weaker grip. Go over top, put your opposite hand here, put that behind your head. What you're going to do now is you're going to pull the knee down, pull the foot down towards the shoulder as the knee comes with you. Make sure you let the knee bend, and make sure you let yourself lengthen out through that entire posterior compartment. Again, if you want to go into more advanced, go into the lockout phase. And now you're going to go ahead and just work at using the band as a pulling down strap to increase hip rotation. Most important movement that you can possibly get. Let me show you it from the other end. We'll unwrap it here. We'll hook it on the arch here. Wrap it around. Make sure we go ahead and put our foot tight. Again, we're going to bring it down. Thumb goes underneath. Hand goes through the end of the band. You can go behind your head. You can go into a more advanced lockout state. What you're doing is pulling the band down, or pulling your foot towards your shoulder. So you'll see my right foot coming towards my left shoulder as I pull it down. I'll reposition so that I can get nice and tight. My goal is to bring that knee towards my chin so I get good rotation, but not through my low back. The key is to not let my low back take it. Therefore, I'm going to make sure my left foot stays tight against the wall as I go ahead and pull down and stretch. Great way to get hip rotation as you go ahead and improve on that. Work on that, especially if you're doing any kind of throwing motion, any kind of running motion. Typically, it's your hips not rotating that lock you up and provide you increased resistance to your joints, subsequently decreasing your overall speed and mobility.